Today we have with us Mr. Andy Smith from Asheville, North Carolina. He is our general manager at Prince Manufacturing there. Welcome, Andy. Thank you for joining our podcast.
No problem. Thanks.
Andy, would you please tell us what is contract manufacturing?
Contract manufacturer is a company that doesn't really make anything with their own name on it. We, as a contract manufacturer, our customers come to us and they're looking for us to do something for them that they don't have the capability of doing, or they simply just don't want to do it. Or in a lot of cases, it's because they need excess capacity and they don't have the room for it, or they don't want to spend the money to get that excess capacity. It could be long-term, it could be short-term, either one or both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of products or equipment or things that people do contract manufacturing in general, and then specifically, what does Prince Manufacturing specialize in?
Okay. The contract manufacturing can cover a lot of areas depending on what that particular contract manufacturer specializes in. Someone might contract out their wiring harnesses for a vehicle if they're making some type of vehicle. Somebody might contract out the hydraulics for a piece of mobile hydraulic equipment. So there's multiple things that somebody might send out to a contract manufacturer or to a sub-supplier is what some people might see it as. For us at Prince Manufacturing here in Asheville, North Carolina, we specialize in basically 5 main areas. We do coatings, both e-coat, powder coat. We also do metal fabrication, a couple of different areas there. We do stampings through fixed presses, and then with hard tools and things of that nature. And then we also do metal fabrication through punch, laser, bend, weld, and then some final assembly in that as well. And then the final thing that we do is all encompassing. We bring in metal, we'll fabricate it, we'll paint it, and we'll do the full assembly, and we'll actually even warehouse it for our customer. And then we handle all of their shipping, all of their billing and everything.
That sounds like a pretty much all-inclusive type of service.
It's what we pride ourselves on. It's what we offer that service to customers that are wanting to either downsize or they need space in their existing plant for a new product line. And we'll take a mature product line and we'll bring that entire product line under our roof and become just an extension of that company.
Right. So you probably already mentioned some of that, but what makes Prince Manufacturing a good choice for contract manufacturing needs?
Well, I think it's regionally, we are ideally located for just about anybody on the East Coast. That's one of our main points. And being, the location we are helps us serve a very large area of manufacturers. Another reason is we do offer so many services under one roof. A lot of our customers will come to us and they'll say, hey, can you powder coat this for us? And we say, sure we can. We'll give them a quote, then we'll invite them in for a plant tour. And they will always, it's inevitable that they will say, even though we've already mentioned it in our initial conversations, they'll say, oh, hey, I didn't know you did fabrication work. Oh, you do metal stamping? Hey, I've got this one part. And we've got an old press in our plant. It's worn out. We've got great tooling. If I send you the tooling, will you make that part for us? Sure, we'll be glad to do that. And which is how this plant actually grew over the years. As customers would come in, they would say, hey, can you do this for us? And we would invest in the equipment to provide whatever other service they needed. And we do that even with customers today. We have customers come to us and they say, hey, we need you to do this, assemble this product for us. And there might be something in that product that that's not in our toolkit today. And so we will invest in the training or equipment or whatever we need to be able to provide that service if it's something that makes sense for us.
That makes sense. Are you able to mention any customers or success stories that you have there in Asheville?
We can. A lot of our customers are. They're very well known. We have found in our Asheville facility, we've kind of found ourselves into a niche, if you will, because it's once you start supplying one area of business, then
Mhm.
you kind of lean towards that. So, power distribution, communications, those are going to be our big areas of the people that we help. So it's going to be cable telephone connection boxes, uh, you know components for switch gear, safety disconnects for uh, high voltage electrical type things, and then and even when we get into the e-coat, which doesn't blend itself into those products, we get into our e-coat process and we e-coat for the automotive industry, the heavy truck industry. And when you start that, you might be e-coating a product for somebody that sells it to Volvo.
Mhm.
And we are tier two to a lot of different companies. So the people actually making the product are tier one to those
Mhm.
large heavy equipment companies. And but once you do that, then the next thing you know, you're e-coding something for a Freightliner, or you're e-coding something for BMW, or you're e-coding something for Volkswagen, any number of different companies like that.
Mhm. Oh, excellent! Wow, that's great. So tell me, why would any company would want to use contract manufacturing, such as Prince or any in general?
Yeah, and we covered a little bit of that earlier on, but to get a little more specific, if you take a company that is they've reached the expanse of their footprint. So let's say they have a 200,000 square foot facility, they might have a 500,000 square foot facility, and it's sitting on 10 or 15 acres of land. It's fixed. They own all that, but they can't expand anymore. And that's when they have to make a decision. They've got new products they're trying to launch, um, and they need space where they are. And
Mhm.
so a lot of times what they'll do is they'll start saying, okay, what can I get done somewhere else? Do I want to get my metal stamping done somewhere else? Do I want to move a particular section of that building that's dedicated to a product line? Move that entire product line out. That would be in one scenario. The other scenario is they just don't want to invest in the technology or the equipment to do a process. E-coat is a very specific
Mhm.
process, and
Mhm.
you need a lot of volume to warrant having that e-coat system in your facility. Powder
Mhm.
coat is another system that's one, it takes up a lot of space. It's an expensive endeavor if you don't have it today. So that's where you're going to go to a contract manufacturer to to use their facility to help you grow your business.
Mhm. That's great. So is that what you would say is scaled production, where people can pretty much, when they want to expand, they can't. So then they reach out to contract manufacturing?
Yeah, and that's another avenue, scaling the manufacturing. We see that with some of our seasonal customers. We
Mhm.
have customers that are in the HVAC industry, and let's face it, HVAC industry is somewhat seasonal from aspect of new home build,
Mhm.
okay, or new construction. Not a lot of new construction in the wintertime, but these HVAC companies, whomever it might be, they are usually building inventory through those winter months. And we have several different customers that will come to us and their capacity in their own plant hits max. And they'll come to
Mhm.
us and they'll say, hey, we need this widget, this metal box, this frame, this whatever. We need you to make these. We need you to make 20,000 of these in the next 3 months. Uh, and we quote them a price and offer our services for that. So we'll see those kind of things happen as well, just so they can flex their own capacity.
Exactly. That's great. I also kind of think about quality control. It seems like a contract manufacturing professionals would be more in tune into quality, because you have to apply that to so many different clients, customers, so many different products. So in my opinion, it would be, and tell me, if I'm wrong thinking, that using a contract manufacturing company also would take advantage of maybe better quality control type of expertise.
Mhm. And that's one of the things that we see is, I mean, right now we're currently ISO 9001 2015 certified. We renew our certification every 2 years, and but that's just the baseline for our quality. Then we also go through. Some of our customers have a 9001 2015. Our quality standards are better than their existing quality standards. Others, not so much. So what we end up doing is, whether it's the direct customer of ours or the end customer, we end up doing quality audits. We've had large companies come in and do a quality audit. Since we're not automotive certified in this facility as of yet, we're working towards that into the IATF certification. But we have had large automotive customers come in to do an annual quality assessment, quality
Mhm.
survey, quality audits, and BMW, Volkswagen, Volvo, Freightliner, BRP. I mean, any number of companies come in and do those quality audits. And some of our electrical companies that we work with, they will come in and they set a quality standard. They set the expectations for your external, defects parts per million.
Wow.
And then they will come in and each year they will do a quality audit on the standards that they've set for you.
Mhm. Which is great because the standards and the audit, let's say by Volvo, benefits other customers too, because Prince manufacturing
Absolutely.
employees are learning from this particular client. And we
Sure.
can apply the same type of, methodology or whatnot for otherwise.
Right.
So that's great.
And we learn as we go through some of
Yeah,
those audits. We see the gaps in what we do today,
yeah,
and then it helps us close those gaps.
yeah.
And for us, at the end of the day, it's better if we could lower our external defects from a part per million level, which we've done over the last 4 years. We've lowered it in the neighborhood of 70%, and so we've seen some really good things happen there as we start working with those kind of clients that require a higher level of quality.
Yeah, excellent. I know you mentioned about the next thing I was going to ask you, but I want to stress it a little bit here and make a kind of big deal because it's kind of obvious reason why you want to contract manufacture, and that's cost savings, right? You
Yes.
already have, yeah, you already have mentioned, hey, you have to get ready for E-code or CARC or whatever other powder coating with to invest in the big machinery and so forth,
Right.
which
Right.
Prince already has. Okay,
Sure.
so but also there is, I think, if you talk about metal fabrication, like metal
Mhm.
stamping or steel purchase,
Mhm.
maybe. Uh, are we able to talk about economies of scale, where let's say if you have several customers wanting the same type of steel, then you can buy it in more bulk versus if you just buy it on your own?
Right. And there are some of those. The cost savings um, will come from our customers using the equipment we already have
That's
and
right.
using the abilities we already have.
Correct.
In some cases, though, the products that we sell to our customers are going to be more expensive because when you take a manufacturer that's making a widget, whatever that widget might be,
Yeah.
well, he sees in his ERP system, his database tells him, hey, my cost is $15 for this part, and Prince Manufacturing will come back and we quote it to them, and it might be $20 for that same part. They're like, whoa, this is more expensive than me doing it myself. But typically, when we have those conversations with those customers, what we find out is they're not including any transportation costs.
Mhm.
They're not including a lot of the overheads that they actually have associated with that part. They don't
Mhm.
include it in their own internal costing. And so, but the other part of that is, if we are a little more expensive to move that part, is it overall cost effective for them?
Mhm. Mhm.
Does it increase floor space for them for another product? Does it keep them from having to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in new equipment
Mhm.
to do a process that we could do for them? So
Mhm.
there is a cost benefit that has to be weighed, but there's no guarantee. We are in a lot of cases going to be less expensive because of our overheads are lower. As a contract manufacturer, we don't have a lot of the engineering design resources that an OEM would have, but so we see some cost benefit there. But at the same token, there's no guarantee that dollar for dollar up front, when you just look at the quote price, that it's going to be less expensive. In some
Yeah.
cases, a lot of cases, it's actually a little bit more, but the benefit is still there.
Yes, definitely. So interesting what you just said, because about a few years ago, we wrote an article on our blog. If anyone is interested, princemanufacturing.com, and then just click on the blog section. We wrote a blog about a complete guide to contract manufacturing. And there we linked to an article where they did some kind of study. And they say that some industry, that's not all industry, but some industry are able to cut the production costs as much as 35% by using contract manufacturing. So it's very interesting. But what you said about the other thing is like, wow, it may be more convenient or feasible to go for something that's a little bit more expensive, but because they didn't consider other factors in there.
Yes, yes.
That's good. That's good. Awesome. Okay, great. Well, the next thing I would like to touch on, if you could touch on, is how do you choose a contract manufacturer?
There's a lot of variables in that. I feel like in dealing with the different customers that we have today. Why did they choose Prince? And honestly, for us, a lot of it is word of mouth. Honestly, I mean, some of it is what attributed to what you do, of course, Merrick, with our marketing and that kind of thing. But honestly, we had a customer just today. This is a brand new one for you. We had a new customer today. They actually want us to paint parts. They're an automotive accessory company and aftermarket, and they sent us in a list of parts that they want us to look at powder coating for them. And like, well, how did you get our name? The people that we buy the powder that they use, we buy powder from a company. They were talking to their sales rep and they said, hey, who's a good powder coater, that uses your powder? Oh, hey, Prince Manufacturing, we sell those guys a lot of powder. Why don't you give those guys a call? And the next thing you know, we've got 2 custom grills for the new Ford Bronco headed towards us right now.
Nice. And those are cool trucks.
Those are cool trucks. And but that's one of the idyllic ways. That's how we grow new business a lot of times, is an existing customer or a supplier. Somebody will go to that supplier, especially with the powder coating. Because when we look at our inventory in our powder coat room, we don't pick the powder. Okay. Our customers, they tell us, hey, I use Exalta, I use TCI, I use Henson, I use this, I use that, PPG, and whatever powder they tell us to use, we use it because we want to meet their spec. And so as we do that, then those, we start being a customer to those powder suppliers. And when they stumble across another guy or, somebody they call on all the time, they're like, man, I am fed up with the guy that's painting my parts for me. Do you have anybody else you deal with? Oh, hey, by the way, these guys are 100 miles closer to you than your existing powder supplier, and they do a great job with their customers. So we get that. That's a lot of the new customer business comes to that, and then also the marketing that you're doing and our sales guys going out and calling on new people. But a good bit of it too is organic growth with our existing customers as products change or develop. We see growth in that. Or if one of our existing customers, one of our electrical guys that we deal with, they're in Tennessee, and they're moving a product line back to Tennessee from a Mexico facility. And so all of that metal, and they're limited internally. They have 1 punch press and 5 press brakes. That's all they have. That's all the vertical capability they have in their facility. So it increased our product depth with those guys by roughly 300 part numbers.
Oh yeah, wow, that's great.
But again, it's organic. Hey, you're doing a good job for us. Here's more. You're doing a good job for us. Here's a little bit more. Oh, hey, by the way, we're going to change our process on this. Can you help us with that? And that's where we, from the true manufacturing side of it, we can make suggestions to them and make it more manufacturable. Again, we don't have design engineers on site, but we have a good manufacturing engineering staff, and we can go to these guys, and we do it a lot because, I mean, let's face it, I was a design engineer at one time, and if I'm designing it, I'm not too concerned about how we make it in some cases. But we will go back and say, you know what, if you would change this bend a little bit, then it'll always go together the same way every time. But the way you got it set up, you got some things that might not fit just right, and so that helps. But back, I'm deviating from your original question, but again, that's how you help your customer, and then they will help you. They might even say, this manufacturing engineer that works for an electrical company, he might play golf every Wednesday with another manufacturing engineer, mechanical engineer that works for somebody down the road that makes conveyor parts. And oh, hey, by the way, we're getting all of our sheet metals made with these guys over here in Asheville, North Carolina. Well, you got anything you need made, send it to them.
Excellent. Good, great. Andy, I have 2 more questions for you. Okay. Number one, the number one of the 2 is, I know that Asheville, North Carolina location is one of other locations that Prince Manufacturing has. Are you able to touch base shortly on other locations that Prince also has?
Sure, we have 4 locations. We have 2 locations in the U.S. We have the Asheville, North Carolina location. We have a wet coat painting facility in Garrett, Indiana. Those guys do a great job. Their specialty is Cark coating, which is a chemical agent resistive coating, military spec. But those guys do a great job. Centrally located, again, in a region that requires a lot of wet coat painting. Then we have 2 facilities in Mexico. We have one in Monterrey, and we have another one in Juarez. The Juarez facility is pretty much a twin to what we are here in Asheville. They have some equipment that's different than us, and some that's the same. We have some that's different than them. Their facility is a little bit larger. Our facility is 110,000 square feet. Theirs is about 140,000 square feet. And then we have a facility in Monterrey, Mexico. It primarily resides as a shelter, which that's a whole nother podcast for you to get into how a shelter works. But then they also have developed a relationship with one of our largest customers that has a facility in the Monterey area, and they've started into the sheet metal punch, bend, and paint world with those guys as well. And that pretty much encompasses our group.
Sure, that's excellent. Very good. Good picture. And then the last question I usually like to ask is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like to talk about?
No, I think we covered it. That covers Prince kind of in a nutshell. And it's contract manufacturing is a great business to be in, and because you meet a lot of interesting customers, and and it's always evolving. And contract manufacturing by itself, that term contract, that's what we have. I mean, we sign a contract with some of our suppliers for typically the contract is for 3 years, and that might be because that's the life of the project, or hey, we renegotiate every 3 years. So there's business coming and going all the time. And some of it is, hey, we can't come to an agreement. They want it cheaper than it can possibly be done, or it just doesn't fit with what we do. But there's always an ebb and flow of what contract manufacturing really is.
Excellent. Well, very good, Andy. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And if somebody has any question for you, is there a way they can get a hold of you, or is it through Prince Manufacturing website?
You can go through the Prince Manufacturing website, or you can email me directly at A.Smith. The name is Andy Smith. So the email is asmith@princemanufacturing.com. And Prince Manufacturing is completely spelled out, all one word.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andy. And we look forward to speaking to you at some point in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening. Sign up to receive Prince Manufacturing content through our newsletter and social media. If you wish to discuss your manufacturing needs, our experts are available for a complimentary consultation. Visit princemanufacturing.com.